republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, roll call, please, Ms. Lawrence.
Mr. Haas.
Here.
Ms. Krishnowski.
Here.
Mr. Liscavige.
Here.
Ms. McDermott. Mr. Perry.
Here.
Mr. Sabatino.
Here.
Ms. Smith. Ms. Stevenson.
Here.
Mr. Thornton.
Here.
Mr. Wilovich.
Here.
Mr. Lombardo.
Here. And then Ms. McDermott and Ms. Smith just walked in.
All present.
Okay, thank you. All right, we will, hold on a second. We'll now have public comment on the proposed ordinance or amending the 2025 general fund budget for Luzerne County for the DA gun violence. Anybody? Anybody on the Zoom? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meetings. All right, move into the second, the second public hearing. There was only one? Oh, okay, I thought there.
We're way ahead of schedule.
All right,
By a minute.
well. Somebody told me the wrong information, I guess. All right, we'll restart at 6:01. Thank you.
Recording stopped.
All right, council members, at 6:01 p.m., I'd like to call the voting session to order. We've already had the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of
Recording
silence.
in progress.
Roll call, please, Ms. Lawrence.
Mr. Haas.
Here.
Ms. Krishnowski.
Here.
Mr. Liscavige.
Here.
Ms. McDermott.
Here.
Mr. Perry. Mr. Sabatino.
Here.
Ms. Smith.
Here.
Ms. Stevenson.
Here.
Mr. Thornton.
Here.
Mr. Wilovich.
Here.
Mr. Lombardo.
Here.
All present.
Thank you. Attorney Skeen, would you please announce the executive session?
Yes. Prior to this meeting, we had an executive session dealing with personnel matters on union contracts, and we also discussed real estate and settlement of litigation.
Thank you. We have two recognitions or ceremonial proclamations. The first is for Developmental Disability Awareness Month. Whereas developmental disabilities encompass a wide range of conditions caused by impairments in physical, learning, language, or behavioral abilities, these conditions typically emerge during the developmental period, significantly impacting daily functioning and often persisting throughout a person's lifetime. And whereas individuals with developmental disabilities represent a vibrant and diverse part of our community, encompassing all racial, ethnic, educational, social, and socioeconomic backgrounds. Their unique contributions enrich the fabric of Luzerne County, and whereas people with developmental disabilities are valued members of our society, our friends, neighbors, family members, and coworkers, who seek and deserve opportunities to lead fulfilling lives and to be recognized for their strengths, abilities, and aspirations. And whereas early intervention services, quality education, meaningful employment opportunities, and home and community-based services are essential for fostering independence and enhancing the quality of life for people with developmental disabilities. These vital resources empower them to overcome barriers, achieve their personal goals, and participate fully in society. And whereas Luzerne County recognizes the importance of creating inclusive environments that promote understanding, respect, and equality for all individuals, regardless of ability. And whereas the tireless efforts of individuals with developmental disabilities, their families, caregivers, educators, and advocates deserve our admiration and support as they work to ensure self-determination, dignity, and respect. Now, therefore, we, the Luzerne County Council, do hereby proclaim March 2025 as Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month in Luzerne County and call upon all residents to support the achievements, aspirations, and contributions of individuals with developmental disabilities and their families by promoting awareness and inclusivity. We strengthen the bonds of our community and ensure that everyone has the opportunity to thrive. Thank you very much. Is there somebody here to collect the? All right. Thank you very much. Would you like to say a few words at the podium? Okay, thank you. Just make sure the microphone's turned on. One second, sorry. Okay.
Hi, Amy Tomkowski. I'm the Deputy Administrator for Luzerne, Wyoming County's Mental Health and Developmental Services. Thank you for the proclamation. I'd just like to give a plug for our activities that we're doing for March for Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month. We're having an inclusive art show on March 29th from 10 to 12 at the JCC in Kingston. And by inclusive, we mean we're having our individuals who are differently abled alongside artists from the community. And it's going to be a great day. We're going to have music and food, and the art is fantastic. So please come on out and support our artists. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll have Ms. Lawrence share this with the rest of council after the meeting. Okay, next up we have a proclamation for St. David's Day, and Councilman Haas is going to read that one.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Chair. It's an honor to read this on behalf of patron saint of Wales, St. David, and all those who have Welsh heritage in Luzerne County. Whereas March 1st is the annual observance of St. David's Day, which honors the feast day of St. David, the patron saint of Wales, and whereas it's a time of celebration for those of Welsh heritage as they come together to remember the life of their patron saint and guiding spirit, St. David, and whereas St. David was a Celtic monk who lived in the 6th century and was one of the many saints who helped spread Christianity among the pagan tribes of Western Britain, and whereas this day for rejoicing dates back to the year 1120, David was canonized. Since that time, the people of Wales and their descendants in America have continued to recognize and reflect upon the life and good works of this humble servant of God, who remains a vital part of the Welsh tradition and culture. And whereas it is said the last words spoken by St. David to his followers were, quote, "Be joyful and keep your belief in God and his creed, and do the little things for your neighbor," end quote. This simple phrase still rings true among the Welsh people as they continue to maintain their faith, fortitude, and fellowship among themselves and their fellow men. Whereas Luzerne County, Pennsylvania boasts the largest population of Welsh descendants outside of Wales proper, and whereas Welshmen played essential roles in building both the coal industry and settlements in the Wyoming Valley from Avoca to Glen Lyon, and whereas the St. David Society of Wyoming Valley was formed in 1871 to celebrate our area's Welsh culture and heritage, celebration of Welsh contributions past and present to Luzerne County, and designate March 1st, 2025 in Luzerne County as St. David's Day. Very good. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much.
Everybody.
I better clap. My wife is Welsh.
I hope she makes the cookies.
All right.
We have a Welsh table over
Are there any deletions from the voting session agenda? Is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda is adopted. We'll now have public comment on voting session agenda items only. I do have one slip up here for Maggie Smith. Maggie Smith? Okay. She can probably hear that we're calling for her, so she'll come in. Ms. Smith, are you speaking on the responsible contracting ordinance?
No.
Okay.
For the skilled labor amendment at the end.
That'll be the responsible contracting ordinance. That'll
Yeah.
be on the work session. I'll have you come back up at a different time.
I just put an amendment. I wasn't sure what I checked
Okay,
on
no,
it.
that's okay. That's all right.
All right, thank you.
Understood. Okay. All right, we have no other slips. Is there anybody here for agenda items only, public comment? Anybody on Zoom for agenda items only? Oh, Mr. Grantede?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Mr. Grantede.
Yeah, I just had a couple of questions. Is the visitor center on the agenda tonight?
No, it is not.
Okay, then I have the wrong information.
Okay. All right, if you'd like to speak on that issue or any other one, you can speak at the end. All right?
Right. Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Grantede. Anybody else for public comment? All right. Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the minutes of the February 11th, 2025 voting session?
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. We'll start with the agenda. Number 1, motion to adopt the ordinance amending the 2025 general fund budget for Luzerne County for the DA gun violence.
So moved.
There's a motion and a second. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Ms. Krishnowski?
Yes.
Mr. Liscavige?
Yes.
Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
Mr. Perry? Mr. Sabatino?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Wilovich?
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Number 2, motion to adopt the resolution authorizing the county manager to apply for bilateral infrastructure law funding for the Wilkes-Barre Wyoming Valley Airport. There's a motion and a second. Roll call.
Ms. Krishnowski?
Yes.
Mr. Liscavige?
Yes.
Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
Mr. Perry? Mr. Sabatino?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Wilovich?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Thank you. Number 3, motion to adopt the resolution authorizing the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation to utilize a Luzerne County-owned road as a temporary detour.
So moved.
Motion and a second. Roll call.
Mr. Liscavige?
Yes.
Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
Mr. Perry? Mr. Sabatino?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson? Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Wilovich?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Ms. Krishnowski?
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Number 4, motion to adopt the resolution authorizing the adoption of the Pennsylvania Department of Conservation and Natural Resources resolution page for submission of grant application.
So moved.
On the question,
Go ahead, Mr. Thornton.
that's the, that's the, not the one we discussed in the Act 13 meeting? It's a different, okay.
No, this is a different one.
Thank you.
Okay. There's a motion and a second. Roll call.
Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
Mr. Perry? Mr. Sabatino?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Wilovich?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Ms. Krishnowski?
Yes.
Mr. Liscavige? Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Thank you. All right, that's all for our agenda for the voting session. We will now have public comment on non-agenda items. I have one slip up here for Tony Gallagher. I think he's outside.
Good evening. Thank you. My name is Tony Gallagher. I'm with Key Energy Consulting. I'm here to speak about the energy for Luzerne County. I was here 2 weeks ago at the February 11th meeting, and it seemed like there were a lot of questions when I left that meeting, so I wanted to come back to try to provide more information as to where we stand with your energy right now. So right now, Luzerne County is locked into an exclusive agreement with World Connect Energy for World Connect Energy to be your exclusive broker for electric supply service. Now, at the meeting 2 weeks ago, Cheryl Heft from World Connect Energy came to that meeting, and she informed us all that the World Connect Energy fees would be $2.25 per megawatt hour. That's an increase of $2 per megawatt hour from what you had been paying to Key Energy Consulting for the last 3 years. What does $2 per megawatt hour mean to Luzerne County? Luzerne County consumes 7,000 megawatt hours a year. So if you're raising your broker fees by $2, your broker fees go up by $14,000. Now, in addition to that, I don't know this for a fact, but sometimes suppliers will add margin too if they see the broker getting more. So it could be more than 14,000, but we know that it's 14,000. So yesterday, I reached out to my supply partner, WGL Energy, who is the current supplier for Luzerne County. By the way, they were your supplier for the last 3 years. With them as your supplier, we saved the county $670,000 compared to the PPL price to compare. I asked if they could provide me with pricing, because when I was here 2 weeks ago, I suggested an open bid request which would rescind all LOEs. They said, Tony, sorry, we can't give you pricing. The LOE, the exclusive arrangement, is still in place with World Connect Energy. Now, the county did put out a bid for this service, and it did receive bids from other brokers. I did not bid on it for 2 reasons. One, I knew that World Connect Energy had the exclusive arrangement. And 2, on October 4th, I received an email from Department Head Jennifer Pecora telling me that World Connect Energy will be shopping for our prices. So I was strongly discouraged from investing my time and energy to bid on this bid. 2 other brokers did bid on it, Chris Lynn Energy and Provident Energy. Provident said they would do it at 50 cents a megawatt hour. Chris Lynn said they would do it at $2 per megawatt hour. So of the 4 brokers who we've discussed here tonight, there are 4 fees. Key Energy Consulting at $0.25, Provident at 50 cents, Chris Lynn at $2, and World Connect at $2.25. So, in my opinion, according to the county charter, section 609, purchasing and acquisition, it says the RFP should be set forth so that the conditions, rules, and regulations am I done?
Yes, thank you,
Okay.
sir. All right. Attorney Skeen has a question
Yes, sir.
for you, Mr. Gallagher. I will say, just really quickly, that I really don't think that public comment is necessarily the appropriate venue for the discussion that we're about to have. I think if maybe you had contacted the county and asked to get maybe on our work session or something like that, that would be more appropriate. This is obviously the time for the members of the public to speak on issues.
I would be happy to do that if.
Okay. I'm just letting you know, because I'd rather us be able to have that dialogue. It gets a little cumbersome when it's now public comment, but Attorney Skeen has a question, so I'm going to let him ask it really quick.
Did you file an RFP?
I did not.
Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Thank you for your time.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right. I have no other slips up here for public comment for non-agenda items. If you'd like to come up and speak now, that would be fine. I can call on the names for the work session items. Our work session is going to be a little bit long if people don't. Ms. Smith?
The energy broker, can that be put on a work session? Because there are some things that I believe are at issue, and I do have some questions about it. And
Okay.
And who our current broker is actually currently under contract.
Manager Crocomo, is that something that we can discuss?
So if it could be, maybe we can put it on the work session today or a different day.
What, the mic? I don't think the mics are working.
Because you have nothing else to do. No.
Okay.
Okay, if we could put it on a work session at some point soon, I would appreciate it.
Okay. All right, we'll work on that. Thank you, Ms. Smith. Okay, we're gonna move on to the rest of public comment. Maggie Smith, I'm sorry, I'm calling you up a second time.
Hi. Am I on?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for having me back. I'm here to speak on behalf of my union, Local 542, and I hope the other unions present will accept what I have to say as well. I just want to state how proud I am to have completed a 4-year apprenticeship program throughout the union. The apprenticeship program has helped me succeed in a trades career. I don't think I would have had the same opportunities or been as successful without securing my training without it. The training I received has helped me to excel and learn in a way that would have not been able to be accomplished without the ability for hands-on learning. And the number one priority of training in a union is safety. So it's always nice to work on a job where everyone wants everybody to go home safe. I was successful in the union, being able to earn a fair livable wage and purchase my own home in Luzerne County as a single woman at age 25. So I hope you consider making sure that apprenticeship programs and skilled labor stay within our county and are made of importance to everyone involved. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Larry Dominski.
Good evening, members of the council and staff, and also members of the trades and community that came tonight. I appreciate the opportunity to share my thoughts on responsible contractor ordinance. My name is Larry Dominski. I live in and work in Luzerne County as a member of the Laborers Local 130, which is a building construction local that covers this area. For those of you who may not be familiar with us, laborers represent over 25,000 workers and families in Pennsylvania. We perform a wide range of construction work on buildings, highways, bridges, energy and utility infrastructure, and environmental remediation. Laborers do some very manual work like demolition, excavation, digging trenches, handling and pouring concrete, moving other heavy materials, and raising scaffolding. These jobs are strenuous and dangerous. Untrained workers pose a risk to themselves, to others, and the work site itself, and also the environment. For my organization and our contractors, safety is the #1 priority. We participate in registered apprenticeship programs that have been proven to be the best possible learning and safety models. In exchange for our skill set, my colleagues and I earn fair wages and benefits. I'm also raising my kids in Luzerne County, and my work ensures that I can provide for my family and give my kids the best possible opportunity. A responsible contractor ordinance protects taxpayers by preventing contractors who cut corners and hire untrained workers to cut costs from winning projects. It supports well-trained local workforce and makes sure that my job won't be taken by low-paid and low-skilled workers and workers from out of state. Projects should be completed by local workers who will provide the best possible work product and who are contributing members to our local communities. I urge the council to continue working towards the passage of this ordinance, and support the ordinance demonstrates support for workers like me and thousands of Pennsylvania laborers. Thank you again.
Thank you, Mr. Dominski. Mr. Griffith said that he submitted I think this is actually, yeah. Mr. Griffith? Walter, I couldn't read your handwriting. I'm sorry.
That's all right. No problem, John. That's all right. Not a problem. Good evening, council. I just wanted to talk a little bit about, everybody got their tax bills this week. Take a look at the bill, how beautiful it looks. Kudos to the Budget and Finance Department, Mary Roselle, on a beautiful job of printing these tax bills. I don't like paying my tax bill, but at least I feel good about looking at it. Okay? So they're really nice. What's that? Yeah, I mean, it's great. So, I mean, it's appealing. It's nice. It's got a picture of the courthouse on it. I just wanted to bring that to council's attention because you voted for Master Touch last council meeting or 2 council meetings ago. They did a fabulous job of getting these out on time and doing a good job printing them. They're really good. I've talked to a couple of people and they go, wow, those are pretty snazzy tax bills. For council's edification. I know you all got yours as well. So the other concern I have is these council meetings are public council meetings. I think the council employees or county employees should be in the rotunda and the public should be in here. I just think that it's not fair to the people who come to these meetings. They have to sit in a rotunda, and county employees sit inside this row. Give their chairs to the people who come here at the public meetings, I think would be appropriate if we could. If we have the seats, that's fine. The other question that I have is on the RCO ordinance. Our charter clearly states that you're not supposed to be discussing ordinances until they're posted. Get 4 votes first and then discuss. We have been discussing this RCO ordinance for 2 sessions now, 2 work sessions. It hasn't even been formally introduced, nor has it been advertised according to our charter. I think we should do it the right way. Now, I mean, I'm not saying we can't discuss them at work sessions, but this is really a big discussion that we've been having on this RCO without even advertising the RCO ordinance yet. You should have at least came to council, get a 4-vote majority to put it on the ordinance, and then discuss it. So all the public is aware, if there's a legal ad posted, just like the charter says, and it's done properly. So I would strongly urge the council to follow the charter with ordinances. Get your 4 votes and discuss it from now until Christmas. But at least get your 4 votes so you know that you have buy-in to do the discussion. You spend 2 meetings, you may not get the 4 votes. Now you've wasted 2 work sessions talking about something that you don't even have the 4 votes to introduce. That's why the charter was written that way. So that ordinances which have become law have plenty of time to be discussed, and the public is fully aware. So I think we're doing a disservice to the people for that. Okay? Thank you very much.
Griffith. Travis Buchanan.
Thank you for having me. My name's Travis Buchanan, Plymouth Borough, Local 44 Sheet Metal Workers. I just want to talk to you guys a little bit about the RCO. I learned about it about 2.5 hours ago. I was covered in dust and dirt, and I decided to go home and come in here and talk to you guys. That the girl kind of took my thunder. I did do a four-year apprenticeship program, and it has put me where I am in my life, and it will do that for so many other young people and other people that may be coming out of the military and looking for a place in our society. We have apprenticeship programs that cater to veterans. There's a lot of room for apprenticeship programs to fill the gaps that are going to be coming up in the future with our labor force, which Rob Bresnahan just spoke on that in the Department of Transportation in DC, and he supports Class A apprenticeship programs to fill those voids that are going to be coming up in the near future. And I work in Luzerne County. I love to work at home, but from what he said, he's not wrong. There's people that come in from other states that are getting paid lower wages. They're not trained. People are putting them on job sites. They're classifying them as trained workers, and they're not. So this RCO would put a lot of deterrent in those practices for some of your contractors that might have a bad faith. It would help, boost our people here. It would even help in the future to boost apprenticeship programs in our schools to make them more important than not just getting a 4-year degree in college, something you may not be able to use in the future. You go into this, you work from day one, you come out with no debt, you come out with a great career, you come out with a great wage, and it would be great for everyone to push forward in a direction where apprenticeship programs are a big part of how we hire our labor force in the future for all trades. And I just appreciate you having this discussion and putting this forth, and I hope you do decide to push this forward and you got your 4 votes and we talk about this more, because I think it would be very helpful to the entire Luzerne County, and all counties should have one, because it really pushes out a lot of these guys, these companies that don't want to follow the rules. They just want to put workers on the site. They want to get the lowest bid, and then just get it done. And then you might have issues in the long run with, comebacks. You're going to have submittals coming in for extra work that you need to do that you didn't have in your bid, and now you already got a contractor in there and you got no choice. So if you're trying to save money, this isn't the way to do it. You want it done right, and you want it done right the first time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Casey McGovern.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Casey McGovern. I'm a member of Local 44 Sheet Metal Workers, as well as the Chief Welding Inspector and a welding instructor for the local union. As far as RCOs go, it we're asking for qualified workers. So people need to be trained to be qualified. Let me tell you a little bit about me and what I do day to day. I wake up and I go to a job site at 7 a.m. every day, and I work next to the kids that I'm training. And then I go after school to a union hall on my own time, on their own time, and we get together and we go over what we need to. I mean, these are people that want to train the next generation of workers. They're right here in your backyard. Local 44 and Local 163 and Local 404, the iron workers, every single apprentice that they have come out, they're OSHA 30 certified. Right now, the standard's OSHA 10. I mean, we're that far ahead of the game. That's what the apprenticeship offers, and that's what an RCO offers. We're doing the responsible thing, and we're training these kids for the future to keep this work here, to make sure that these kids can go on, like Miss Smith, and buy a house at 25, to make sure that these kids don't have to go to New York or go to Jersey or take their family somewhere else because they can't get work here. That's all that this is about. This is about keeping it at home and keeping our local members and keeping our local workers working rather than bringing in guys from out of town and bringing in guys who are going to undercut us that, quite frankly, just don't have the qualifications that a Class A apprenticeship offers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Warren Faust?
I can defer to the work session.
Okay. Scott Lindy?
Hello, Scott Lindy. I'm here tonight, not representing, but as a member of the Redevelopment Authority. And I just wanted to bring an example of a contract that we've been working on for several years to take out the rail all the way from Edwardsville up to West Nanticoke and replace it with a rail trail and a utility corridor. So we've spent 2 or 3 years on this appraisal, and the back of the appraisal gives some examples of contracts that have come out recently to do this. And what it comes out to be is that you'd need a large bunch, you need contractors that are demolition, you need contractors that are recycling, you need contractors that have to do restoration and everything like that. And just as an example, without having the ability to have all the subcontractors on this, the example they have is that when the bids came in, and this is, you can have this here, one contractor's paid $600,000 to the county to be able to take the rail out, and the other end of it was $200,000 that you would have to pay. So I guess one of the questions would be is, while you're doing, considering this, would the Redevelopment Authority also be covered as bidding these contracts? Because I don't think it would be possible to get a within our budget to contract for that. I don't know. It isn't completed the wording of it yet. So it'd be kind of a question as you study this and go for it. So I would just like to submit this for the record.
Thank you, Mr. Lindy. That's a good question. I think the answer is no. Is that correct? Attorney Skeen, the Redevelopment Authority wouldn't be covered under possible responsible contracting ordinance for the county?
Okay.
Yeah, because the authority is,
about
it's a separate
to
governing entity.
set-
Yeah,
we're
you're
in the
separate
midst of
legal,
putting out
you're a
the
separate legal entity.
Right.
You're separate
Okay.
from the county.
Thank you. I appreciate that because we're working on
Yep.
it now. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Lindy.
You can enact one too, Mr. Pardon? You can enact an RTO too as a developer. You know what, as long as we get the best price. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Griffin, would you like to speak now? Okay.
Greg Griffin, Swarsville. RCO, I don't understand. The Democrat Party who's proposing this, I thought they were for inclusion, not exclusion. Now, what they want is probably, it sounds like a monopoly. Now, I was an apprentice for 5 years for the electrical union. This isn't about apprenticeships or union. This is about excluding good contractors, private contractors, because they don't have an apprenticeship. It costs a lot of money to have an apprenticeship. There's a lot of apprenticeships. There's a lot of private companies that don't have that many employees. They couldn't afford an apprenticeship program, but they do very good work. And most I think the contractors have a bond anyway. But this is just this is a political, I just think agenda item number 6 would exclude very capable private contractors because they don't have an apprenticeship. In my opinion, this is purely a political stunt. Democrats propose this, and in my opinion, the Democrats who is proposing this receive a lot of campaign assistance. So there it is. Quid pro quo, help me. You get us in, union contractors only with apprenticeships, and you knock out these poor private contractors who've been doing a great job. And you're also going to hurt citizens in Luzerne County who work for private contractors. From the union, they receive campaign assistance from the union contractors who exclusively would benefit if this ordinance passed. And private contractors, I thought we were against discrimination and all that stuff. Private contractors would be discriminated against. I even see legal issues, constitutionalities and whatnot. But this, as a former union union member, and I went through 5 years of an apprenticeship climbing poles, I still have to speak out against this. It's not right. I would speak out against this if the Republicans were doing it. This is so obvious. And it's not going to pass because, we have 7 Republicans on council. Now, in November, if the Democrats take council, they're going to bring this forth. We're going to have all kind of games like this. But I have faith in the 7 council members. They're going to, they're going to vote against it because it's discriminatory. It's not right. It's going to hurt citizens in Luzerne County as much as they say it's going to help these people to have these apprenticeships. But let's not do this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Griffin. All right, I have Mr. Matthew John Mashevsky.
Good evening, council. Is there a time watch to be able to?
3 minutes.
Well, I'd like to be able to see so I could keep that measure.
You're at 2:51 right now.
Okay, could we start at 3?
You started when you started speaking. So.
Well, Wilkes-Barre City does it different. They actually have a time monitor.
Okay.
Have the 3 branches of government at all the levels of government therein been included in the processes and procedures involved in the proposed taxes and other considerations being considered by the council today? Is there a judicial official here? No answer. Legislative is here. Is the executive here?
The executive branch
Yes,
is here.
but
Sir,
the judicial is not here?
Sir, this is an opportunity for
I
you
have,
to...
and I'm speaking. Please don't interrupt me. You're involved in my 2 minutes. I'd like that moment back. In regards to Edwardsville, we still do not have a magistrate nor any substitute being included in the council session. Also, the council attorney declared a judicial official is not required. Yet, I pose the question that if a judicial official and legal expert of town, county, state, and federal laws are not included, then how can government expect to be obedient to prior laws manifested and/or fulfill the obligation of government and its trusts of life, liberties, and the pursuits of happiness, and equal equity through all posterity? Finally, please eat only organic and pure foods, as treasonous and seditious actors have forced the government to allow toxins in our food chain as a result of illicit and illegal government operations of the executive inclusion of the USC, the United States Code, which was not manifested with equal participation of the executive, judicial, and legislative branches of our government, which is a violation of the Constitution, a denial of our life, and of the checks and balances of our government at the federal level. So please, only eat organic plants and organic and preferably pasture-raised animal products, as I know from hard experience that doing otherwise can make you very sick in the head, in the heart, in the body, and especially in regards to your parasympathetic and your sympathetic nervous system. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else have public comment on non-agenda items in the audience? Anybody else in the audience? All right, I have one hand up. If there's anybody in the rotunda that would like to speak, just step by the door, please. There's one hand up. I have Jim. Could you please state your full name and your municipality, please, sir?
Hi, my name is Jim Wilkes-Barre. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, sir.
Okay, thank you. I am with Associated Builders and Contractors, the Keystone chapter. So my municipality is not within Luzerne, but we represent contractors that are in the county. I just wanted to comment on the RCO, and I appreciate that in the prior meeting that we had an opportunity to send an email with some thoughts, and I appreciate that reading the draft that's presented to the council tonight, a lot of those points have been addressed, especially with some of the union members that have acknowledged that apprenticeship is a great program. We agree. We have one also. With the way the RCO is still written, I do just want to make a couple comments on some things for the council to be aware of. When it comes to apprenticeship, previous speaker had mentioned about demolition. That's a great point because there is no demolition apprenticeships in Pennsylvania, and that's the type of thing that you can run into with this. We would like to see if there's opportunities to work with the council in terms of safety, because that's something that everyone agrees on. We think that experience modification rates or using insurance ratings as a way of ensuring that contractors are safe would be the best approach to make. There are other things when you're talking about safety and responsibility, that debarment, bonding, defaulting, those are already current practices in procurement, which are following already. So including that in the RCO is fine, but it's not adding any enhancements to your responsibility or safety procedures. In terms of the percentage of apprenticeship participation, we appreciate that that's not really included. Having 3 to 5 years of apprenticeship is more fair, but we just think that having something with insurance or modification ratings is a better way of ensuring that you're having safe contractors on the job. We'd be willing to work with anyone that is on council would like to see if there's a best practice that can be included. And I'll just conclude my remarks with just saying that we hope that this is just the beginning of a conversation to have some kind of an ordinance that does the best for Luzerne County. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wilshire. Mr. Faust? Okay. Yeah.
Follow those remarks so it would make more detailed information. I only have 3 minutes, so I'll attempt to answer as many issues that council and contractors brought up at the last work session. Number one, some said at the last meeting the RCO is exclusionary. This is false. One contractor stated the ABC, which you heard from, represents 90% of all contractors in PA. Let's use those numbers along with the information I obtained through Keystone Research Center based on Rapids data. There are 496 registered construction apprentice programs in PA, 140 union, 356 non-union. This means the ABC has 2.5 times more programs than the building trades. If anything, it will be exclusionary to the building trades who I represent. Fact, all contractors can have a Class A registered program if they choose to. And I know the ABC would agree with me because we both represent them. Number two, I heard a council member state they were worried about litigation. I have provided a letter of support from the Northampton County Executive to all council stating another issue that often comes up is that responsible contractor ordinances are discriminatory and therefore not legal. This is also not true. Northampton County litigated this issue with the ABC in federal court in the Eastern District and won. It was appealed to the Third Circuit Court and won again. Responsible contracting ordinances are legal. They have offered all relative case materials for council's review. Number three, a council member stated that they don't want to subsidize apprenticeship programs at the expense of Luzerne County. Nothing could be further from the truth. I can speak on the 140 Class A programs we represent in stating our programs train through a cents per hour contribution from our membership. Therefore, the apprentices learn while they earn at an actual cost savings to taxpayers in Luzerne County. Number 4, we had a contractor state the RCO will raise prices on projects. I have provided council members with a 22-page study done in Ohio titled Do Responsible Contracting Policies Increase Construction Bid Cost? The answer is no. An RCO does not raise prices on taxpayers, but it does have benefits to workers, their families, and their communities. Number 5, we had a council member state we already have protections through bonding, etc. However, we had contractors that spoke at the last meeting that have been fined for misclassifying their workers, along with class action lawsuits for shorting their workers on hard-earned overtime. This is why we need an RCO. We have shared with you the benefits of an RCO, the benefits of apprenticeship training, and the documentation of studies and litigation proving RCOs are legal. I ask that all members support this RCO, for the time of preaching apprenticeship has ended and it is time to practice apprenticeship. An RCO that utilizes Class A certified apprenticeship programs pays dividends both today and long into the future. These programs provide access to careers for young men and women in our local communities, enabling them to raise families, buy homes, and become valuable tax-paying residents. A vote for an RCO is an investment in our county. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Faust. Anybody else for public comment? Go ahead, sir. Just state your name and municipality you live in.
Hello, my name is Bruce Szynski. I live in Wilkes-Barre, Luzerne County. Recognize a lot of people here. Greg Willowich, I actually went to high school with your father, Greg Willowich. And I remember Harry Haas from the East End section of Wilkes-Barre. We used to always walk around your neighborhood. I remember several years ago when you first moved in down there and you were fixing up your porch and fixing up the neighborhood. I thought, this guy's great. I'm glad he's on our side. I'm glad to see you're on county council now fixing up the county like you fixed up your house down in the East End. So good to see you here. I just wanted to make a couple points real quick. I know everybody wants to get out of here and go back to your family and friends. We're here not to fight with you or try to argue the point of who's right or who's wrong. We're all here as community members. The couple different trades that came here today came here because it's very important. We represent over thousands of members if you add up all of our trades together. And so we're your constituents. We're not just union members. So you have over 1,000 constituents here with our family and friends. So I mean, we're several thousand people that are voting for you and asking you to help us. Constituents in your community. About the apprenticeship program, I went through the apprenticeship program with the Insulators Union, and I got to tell you, it's probably the best thing I did. I have 2 college degrees, which I'm very proud of, and they're great. The 5-year apprenticeship program taught us several things that we need to know. And you don't realize how important that is until you get out on the job and you're working next to other people who didn't go through an apprenticeship program. It's night and day, and you could only realize this or see this if you're actually out on a job and you see the difference of work or the standards that we're held to and others aren't. So the apprenticeship program is great. The other point that I want to make is the apprenticeship program is free. We don't charge people to go through the apprenticeship program. So people are going to school and spending hundreds of thousands of dollars for a degree, and they get out of school and they can't even get a job. We take people in and we teach them everything, right from how to read a tape measure to everything you need to know on the job. So as far as equal opportunity, you can't get a better opportunity in this apprenticeship program than getting anybody off the street and bringing them in, teaching them everything they need to know, working safe and doing great work. So it really is a benefit to the community to have these apprenticeship programs. And my final point that I want to make is kind of a joke, but really not kind of a joke. You could pay us now or you could pay us later. We've been on several jobs throughout the years, and of course we lose jobs for lower bids all the time. And we know the names of the contractors and we know the names of the people that are there before they even get there. And when they get the job, because they bid under us, we already know that we'll be back in a few months to fix their work. And that's not, a joke, it's true. So you can pay us now or pay us later. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else for public comment in the audience? All right, I have Oh, yeah, I have a person on, sorry, I have a person on the Zoom. Mr. Grantede?
Hello. I just wanted to make a comment. I see there's a lot of union members there tonight, and they want people to support them. Along with the nurses this week, they were out looking for the public to support them. Teachers unions, the same thing. Well, it's nice that, that they can all stick together and for issues that benefit them. But they have to realize that there's more important things than union. You've got God, you've got country, you've got family. And it's nice that you get together when you have an issue that you want to rally behind. But this country was in a lot of trouble over the last 4 years. And a lot of the union members that I come in contact with were voting against their own best interest because of one interest, and that was the union. And I just want them to keep that in mind, that your country is more important. Union isn't even in the top 5. So get those priorities straight. I know a lot of you are young people, and it's nice that you're going to make a good living, but you have to stand up for certain things, and sometimes you have to stand against certain things. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, Mr. Grantede. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, meeting's adjourned at 6:50. We'll restart at 7 o'clock.
Recording stopped.
All right, council members, take your seats. We're going to get restarted here in a moment. It's 6:59. Harry? Oh no, he said he was leaving as well. Okay, who else were we missing? We have Romilden back. Right, he just told me he was. Yeah, he told me he was leaving for the work session. All right, council members, it's 7:01 p.m. I'd like to call the work session to order. We already had the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
Recording in progress.
Roll call, please, Ms. Lawrence.
Mr. Hawes? Ms. Krishnowski? Here. Mr. Liscavige?
Here.
Ms. McDermott? Here. Mr. Perry? Here. Mr. Sabatino?
Here.
Ms. Smith? Here. Ms. Stevenson? Mr. Thornton? Mr. Wilovich?
Here.
Mr. Lombardo?
Here.
9 of 11.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any additions or deletions from the work session agenda?
Make a motion to remove number 6 in light of what Mr. Griffith brought to light with proper reading, introduce the ordinance. We should do it the right way going forward.
Is there a second? Is there a second to remove? Okay, lack of second. All right, any other deletions? Is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda is adopted. We'll now have the State of the County presentation by Manager Romilda Crocomo.
Honorable council members, Honorable Controller Griffith, esteemed colleagues, and valued residents of our county. It is an honor to stand before you today to reflect on our collective journey over the past year. As we gather here, it's crucial to recognize not only our achievements, but also the challenges we face. Together, we have made significant strides, and together, we will continue to confront the obstacles ahead. First and foremost, let's celebrate our successes. This past year, we have welcomed several new enterprises that bring innovation and opportunity to our community. Our commitment to investing in infrastructure has resulted in upgraded roads and public facilities, enhancing the quality of life for all residents. Today, you will hear an impressive array of numbers reflecting the countless individuals served by our dedicated staff. It never ceases to amaze me how the work that our staff do each and every day impacts nearly everyone in Luzerne County. Their commitment is truly remarkable, and I encourage all of you to take pride in their efforts just as I do. Today, as we reflect on the numbers, the people we've served, the expanded services we've provided, and the progress we've made, I ask you to consider something else as well. The financial burden placed on taxpayers in our neighboring counties. Carbon County saw a 30.61% tax increase. Columbia County, 25%. Schuylkill County, 20.34%. And our neighbors to the north, Lackawanna County, 32.97%. These are significant tax increases that the residents in those areas are now shouldering. Meanwhile, here in Luzerne County, we have expanded services. We maintained a workforce of over 1,400 dedicated employees and kept our pension plan strong and healthy without increasing taxes. This is not by chance. It is the result of responsible leadership, strategic financial planning, and a commitment to efficiency. We together have proven that it is possible to grow, serve, and invest in our community without placing an extra burden on our taxpayers. So as you hear the numbers today, the thousands of residents helped, the new initiatives launched, and the services that are enhanced, remember this: we did it while keeping the tax rate steady. That is something worth recognizing, and it is a standard we intend to uphold. Going to go through each division and highlight certain departments. Division of Administrative Services. The Office of Community Development. Over $2.6 million was expended under this CDBG program for infrastructure projects for various municipalities, which includes roads, sewers, fire facilities, demolition, and ADA improvements. To date, the Emergency Rental Assistance Program has expended over $42.6 million that was allocated to the county, which provided rental and utility assistance to 13,422 households in need. To date, under the Whole Home Repairs Program, with our partner CEO, they completed 140 homes, and 49 homes have had repairs completed for a total of $1,167,290. More from the Office of Community Development. CDB funds in the amount of $400,000 were provided to the Freeland YMCA to make essential repairs to multiple areas of the facility so that they can remain in operation. This one is very near and dear to my heart. Without this investment, that Y would have closed. And right now, that Y is a vibrant center it once was when I went to school in Freeland, Pennsylvania, 5 decades ago. Information technology, another department under administrative services. IT services does all of our IT needs. Every day, every night. And if you ask some of the IT employees, they get emails and texts from me over the weekend if there are events that are happening. So they do all that work, and they also delivered 2 new office locations for county services. The Hazelton Annex and the Wyoming Operations Building. They did this when they also instituted a new asset management system implementation so that we will know how much electronic equipment that we have. This is an issue that I've talked to our controller with, and we are taking on that task. Another division of administrative services is purchasing. In purchasing, we advertised bids and RFPs electronically now with Penn Bid Portal, which is making our RFP and bid process more efficient. The Convention and Visitors Bureau is another department under administrative services. We all know we had a successful Rockin' the River concert series. And we all know that we had a successful Rockin' the Mountain series at City View Park in Hazleton. We will be expanding those concerts in Hazleton from 3 to 4. That's how successful they were. We've also launched the new Babe Ruth Sultan of SWAT Home Run Derby at Kirby Park. The county team unfortunately lost, and I, a lifelong Yankees fan, had to wear a Phillies uniform. But this year, we're going to actually play a softball game. So the players have to be employees either of the county or the city. So all of our job postings, the first requirement is, do you play softball? Because I am not wearing a Phillies jersey again. We've also launched a new podcast called Next Stop, the Visit Luzerne County podcast, and I welcome anybody to listen to it. It really is quite entertaining. And this year, we will start concert series here in the courthouse with members of the Northeastern Philharmonic. Another division of administrative services, and you're going to say, how do all these departments fall under administrative services? And I think it was the last division that they just placed all these different departments in, is the Bureau of Election. The Election Bureau did a lot of work this last year. We had a presidential election, and we had 75% voter turnout. We also implemented significant security measures, which there was the placement of the notorious boulders around Penn Place to prevent unauthorized vehicle access and ensuring the safety of election operations and workers, and office security measures with ballistic walls and glass. The election brought many departments together, and I personally want to thank the Emergency Management Agency, our Sheriff's Department, our District Attorney's Office, the Office of Law, Operations Services, GIS Mapping, and IT. They all worked together to create a contingency operation plans for numerous potential election day issues. For the over 1,200 poll workers, we implemented a new online training option and a new tech system which allows our poll workers to have more efficient and effective communications on Election Day. The Bureau of Election also processed over 3,800 in-person ballot requests for the 2024 general election. We processed over 64,000 applications and purged 7,905 ineligible voters. Another department under administrative services is human resources. With the help of our controller, human resources implemented the New World conversion and implementation. They've also implemented time and attendance for employees and supervisor training. There are some challenges that we face in administrative services. Under community development, we will need to meet the challenges of funding requests due to a decrease in available funding. Information technology, we have to increase and change around services and software licensing, which cost and pricing are increasing. In human resources, we face numerous challenges with FMLA and ADA requests. And again, in the Office of Community Development, we are asking to continue the open and continued communication to work towards a better future for the county. I know this council will be a part of that. The next division is a division of budget and financial services. We've had many accomplishments in that division under the leadership of Mary Roselle. We needed to RFP our auditing services, which we did, and Clifton Larson Allen was successful as a respondent who will be performing the county's 2024 audit. As was mentioned by our controller, our new tax bills were mailed out. Budget and Finance continues to work with banking institutions to get the highest interest rate available. The total interest earned in 2024 was over $5 million. Of that, over $3 million was related to the ARPA funds. The county's debt service has a balance as of December 31st of $116,418,801. Our challenges remain that we maximize our revenue and reduce expenses. Some of the expectations from council is to continue to support new initiatives to streamline budget and finance operation, to work together to maintain the budget, explore new initiatives to increase grant revenue, and help build community partnerships. The next division is the Division of Correctional Services. Some of the achievements is that we expanded our medically assisted treatment program to include long-lasting injectables, which will reduce the possibility of diversion and assist inmates that have substance use disorders with re-entering the local communities without treatment interruption. This program has significantly reduced our exposure to litigation. We still have challenges. We have inmate population that continues to age, and many inmates not only have medical issues, but also suffer from mental health issues. Some of the expectations of council is that we would like each and every one of you to tour the facility so you have firsthand knowledge of many challenges that are faced daily by our corrections officers. The Department of Human Services. This division, Human Services, held an expo in December of 2024 at the Mohegan Sun Casino. This event was attended by more than 450 human services professionals and consumers, and the topics such as child abuse, living with autism, and prevention of suicide were discussed. Under our Area Agency on Aging, our Aging Department is working with NeighborWorks on the ECHO project, which is an elderly cottage housing opportunity to provide an older adult in Luzerne County with a small temporary housing structure placed on a relative or close friend's property to provide safe, independent housing while still being able to access a nearby caregiver. The Department of Children and Youth and Families, we opened a food pantry for our clients and families on site. We are working in partnership with the CEO, and this is a great benefit for the entire community. We have served over 2,100 families in 2024. We are now part of a family engagement initiative kicked off in January of 2024. We were invited to participate by the state, and we have begun, because of this initiative, to decrease the number of children in foster care and increase the number of families for children. We reopened our school-based unit. We now are in 2 school districts, Wilkes-Barre area and Wyoming Valley West. We have our CYF workers there, and their work has prevented over 30 referrals from reaching the agency. And both schools and families are very happy with this service. The Department of Drug and Alcohol, the Luzerne County, Wyoming County Drug and Alcohol Departments met with Luzerne County Correctional Facility staff to implement procedures for the Prison Reentry Warm Handoff Program. This prison reentry program is funded by Luzerne County opioid settlement dollars. The program utilized certified recovery specialists with lived experience in recovering to screen and provide interventions to re-entrants. The meetings focused on communication, system navigation, partnership, and transitions to community-based services. The Department of Mental Health and Developmental Services. Our Mental Health and Developmental Services Administrator, Tara Fox, was selected for the Pennsylvania's 988 Crisis Policy Academy, which is a very prestigious group. In our Mental Health and Developmental Services Department, we have a Crisis Receiving and Stabilization Center that is located in Hazleton. We will deliver short-term residential stabilization with 24-hour supervision for individuals not requiring inpatient services. Another department in the Division of Human Services is Veterans Affairs. We moved to a new location on Water Street, which was near the original location. It will be more accessible to our veterans, and we will be having a grand opening shortly. Our Veterans Affairs Department has increased visits to the VA hospital, and we'll be hosting bingos, and we're setting up a visit for council as well. Some of the challenges that the division of Human Services faces deals with our civil service requirements. Unfortunately, civil service produces less qualified applicants and takes months to complete. And we are revisiting whether we will continue to participate in that system.
Manager Crocomo, I just have one really quick clarification. When you say less qualified applicants, you mean fewer qualified applicants?
Yes.
Is that what you meant? Okay, all right.
Well, both.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Some of the expectations of council, we would like council to become more familiar with the services that we provide and that the consumers that we serve and the challenges to our staff. And we will be updating information to council on a regular basis. We would like council to advocate with our legislatures and state offices for additional resources to assist us with staffing recruitment and retention, such as statewide media campaigns. The Division of Judicial Services and Records, the coroner's office is part of that division. Here are some of the statistics of 2024. We had 1,323 natural deaths. We have 54 suicides, 9 homicides, 89 overdoses, 3 undetermined deaths, and 150 accidental deaths. 1 from choking, 2 from drowning, 2 industrial, 2 other, and the remaining were related to falls. Our Prothonotary and Clerk of Courts, both the Prothonotary's office and the Clerk of Courts receive training on both civil computer system, IQS solution, and the criminal computer system, CPCMS. They are 2 different systems. And it was part of the goals of Home Rule to have cross-training. And we are finally doing that. Our Recorder of Deeds and Register of Wills, we provided all services for the swearing in of estate representatives and adoption filings at the Hazelton Annex. The records storage, we provided retrieval services for 3,798 requests. Boxes identified for destruction were 604. Boxes submitted for storage, 750. Record Center currently stores over 12,000 boxes, over 23,000 linear feet of open files, and we have current storage space allocated is 1,361 cubic feet, approximately 53% of capacity. The Sheriff's Department is also under the Division of Judicial Services and Records. Our sheriffs, 4 deputies, successfully completed the crisis intervention training, enhancing our ability to respond effectively to mental health crises and ensuring better outcomes for those in need. We had facility upgrades. Thanks to funding from ARPA, our facilities underwent a significant security upgrade with the installation of new enhanced door locks, providing greater protection for both staff and visitors. We had a panic alarm system rollout. In November, we began rolling out a new panic alarm system, a critical step in ensuring the safety of our personnel and increasing our ability to respond to emergencies swiftly. And maybe my favorite report of the Sheriff's Department is the K-9 program development. Deputy Sheriff Corporal Michael Flynn began K-9 handler training in December, marking the beginning of an exciting expansion to our K-9 unit, we will have an explosive sniffing dog in the sheriff's department. Just want to tell everybody, I have the authority to deploy the sheriffs, and that dog will be deployed to my office on a regular basis. Some of the challenges that we have in the Division of Judicial Services, like many of the other divisions, is that we do have a high number of vacancies. A division that is near and dear to my heart is the Office of Law. The Office of Law reviewed over 1,000 contracts, provided 25 ordinances, 274 resolutions, and settled 10 cases. We provide legal service to children, youth, and families with 430 dependency actions, new and reopened, and 95 terminations of parental rights, enabling dependent children to be adopted. The Division of Operational Services, the Department of Emergency Services, we integrated 911 personnel into emergency management operations through specialized training in incident command, logistics, and emergency operations center processes. We actively participated in Talent Energy's October 2024 federally evaluated drill, which involved 70 staff members and 19 municipalities. We are updating the county's hazard mitigation plan with state funding and the support of a consultant, and this update will continue throughout 2025. We introduced the new 911 program, prepared program to assist telecommunicators with critical functions such as location verification, addressing language barriers, and enhancing on-scene visualization. The Division of Operations Services also includes Road and Bridge and Building and Grounds. Building and Grounds continues to complete projects on a day-to-day basis and within budgets. We have a lot of elevators in this county, and we are addressing and updating the elevators, and hopefully we will have a final report of the elevators in the prison being fully functional. Planning and zoning, we utilize our ArcGIS Pro to identify areas within county zoning jurisdiction that can have mixed residential business zoning designations. We are updating our zoning map to include these zones, which will improve permitting process for property owners within these zones. We have our solid waste management. We completed the renovations in our new operations building using sustainable and recyclable materials. We have a boiler plant department, and we installed a rooftop units at the annex and the records retention building. We have some challenges, and in the Department of Emergency Services, we will need to consolidate the facility to house both 911 and EMA agencies, and we are starting to work on those plans. We need to upgrade our salt sheds. And in building and grounds, we have to make sure that this building is taken care of. And the final department that I'm going to speak about this evening is the Office of the Public Defender. The Office of the Public Defender was able to hire and retain 3 assistant public defenders and 4 support staff. We had some staffing challenges in that department, and we are addressing them. And in 2024, we completed an upgrade to our case management system, Defender Data, which included a text messaging system to help with communication with our clients about their cases and court dates. And that actually is a way to get defendants to court on time and not be held in contempt of court and then sent to our prison. Public safety remains a top priority for the county. And here is what we are doing in the next few months to educate not only the county, but other municipalities. With the Luzerne County EMA, PEMA, and FEMA, on March 11th and 12th, we will have an advanced ICS for complex incidents. We will be covering roles and responsibilities, initial response activities, staffing and organize, importance of relationships and interactions with stakeholders, command directions, and meetings, briefings, and support activities. Lucy Morgan, who is the department head, always says to me, preparation, preparation, preparation. On March 26th and 27th, we will have a training for emergency management operations. It's designed to provide emergency management personnel and planning teams with the ability to write comprehensive emergency plans in concert with federal, state, local, and tribal plans. On April 8th, EMA will be having trainings on Skywarn. It will help the communities and the National Weather Service to track severe weather, what and how to report information. The National Weather Service uses it to issue warnings, preparation, staying safe for severe weather or flooding, and beginning information on structure, formation, and hazards associated with different types of severe weather in our regions. On May 15th, we'll be having a training on Skywarn again. It will be an advanced course on structure, formation, and hazards associated with different types of severe weather in our region. And in June 19th of 2025, we'll have another training, 191 EOC ICS interface. This is designed to provide emergency management personnel and planning teams with the ability to work with multi-agencies and the interface with local, state, and federal agencies in planning and real live events. I'm telling all of you this because Luzerne County is prepared, and we're prepared because of the dedicated workers at EMA. The other things that we're doing is we'll have a public open house scheduled for long-range transportation plan. The Lackawanna and Luzerne Metropolitan Planning Organization, known as the MPO, is updating its 20-year regional long-range transportation plan. The MPO is leading the update of the transportation plan in cooperation with PennDOT and technical consulting assistance from Michael Baker International. It is being guided by the region's MPO, which includes representatives from the region's 2 counties, local transit agencies, and PennDOT. And I will say, standing at this podium, that if it wasn't for Luzerne County's Dan Reese, we wouldn't be this far. Dan Reese is leading this process. And if the infrastructure in northeastern Pennsylvania improves, it's because of that man sitting right there. We will have the open house here on Thursday, February 27th from 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. in the Luzerne County Operations Center. And then on Monday, March 3rd, from 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. at the Butler Township Community Center in Drums, PA. Infrastructure is the cornerstone of development. And Luzerne County will have multiple infrastructure projects beginning in the spring of 2025. Main Road repave in Hunlock and Ross Townships. Sweet Valley repave in Ross Township. Hanover shoulder widening in Hanover Township. Harris Hill Bridge replacement in Kingston Township. Patlaw superstructure replacement in Ross Township. Kissenweather superstructure replacement in Butler Township. Broadway bike lanes in Ross Township. Crestwood industrial drainage in Wright Township. Lower Des Moines K-Route paving, Dallas Township, and Union Township rib bundle in Union Township. These projects have the source of multiple funding streams, but when it's all said and done, Luzerne County will be investing over $20 million in these infrastructure repairs and rebuilds. So as we celebrate these accomplishments, we must also acknowledge the challenges that lie ahead. The ongoing effects of the pandemic continue to impact our community with staffing challenges, and we face issues such as rising costs of living and housing shortages. These challenges require our unwavering commitment and collaboration. Together, we will address these issues head on. We will continue to advocate for resources to support public health, mental health services, and affordable housing initiatives. We will strengthen our partnerships with local organizations and stakeholders to ensure that everyone has a voice in shaping our county's future. We have already spoken with Representative Congressman Bresnahan's office. We have already spoken with Representative Pugh's office. And we already have spoken with Representative Rinkavich's office. And the rest of our representatives are on my list to meet with. In the spirit of unity, let us embrace our challenges before us as opportunities for growth. We are stronger together, and working collaboratively, we can create innovative solutions that benefit all residents. Let us remain resilient in our pursuit of progress and committed to fostering a community that thrives. As we move forward, I encourage each of you to stay engaged, share your ideas, and participate in our local governance. Your voices matter, and together we can build a brighter future for our county. So thank all of you, each and every one of you, for your dedication, your hard work, and your commitment to our community. And let us continue to face the future with optimism and determination. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Manager Crocomo. We appreciate all those great things that you said about the county and how we can collaborate more. We're looking forward to another great year. Okay, next up we have the Opioid Commission multimedia ad campaign presentations. We have 4 media companies that submitted requests for funding. And just a little background on this, because I know some people had some questions about it. the opioid commission thought that this would be the most ideal way to have these organizations present their presentations rather than just coming to the commission itself. Being that they might be a little bit longer, we kind of figured it would be easier to just bring it to a council meeting, work session, and go from there. The commission hasn't made any recommendations or made any decisions on this at all yet. So this is not, these haven't been passed on from the commission. They're just ones that have applied for the funding. This is a little bit of a different situation than at the end of last year when we had one organization that was asking for funding. We were looking for, obviously, for something to do with that money, and that was one potential solution, and we ended up using it for something different. So without further ado, the first entity is going to be Kudu Creative. And I have told each of these entities, please, 10 minutes, and I'm going to ask Ms. Lawrence actually to put the timer on because we really want to get out of here.
Yes, I will be quick. Let
Okay,
me know when
thank
the
you very
timer
much.
starts.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Good evening, County Council and OMAAC. My name is Sarah Clark. I'm with Kudu Creative, a full-service marketing advertising agency located in Easton, Pennsylvania. I appreciate the opportunity to present to help save lives of Luzerne County. Do I have control over the?
You can click the. You want to click the button and see if. I don't think that I don't think it. There we go. Okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
So, like I said, we are Kudu Creative. We're a full-service marketing advertising agency. And the difference between us and other advertising agencies is I am the owner and also creative director. I have a degree in graphic design and interactive design, project manager, graphic designer, as well as social media manager. Our services, we do brand development, website design and development, social media, marketing strategy, print and digital design, as well as content creation. Why choose us? I will let you read through this, but just to be mindful of time, I stop being creative. Like I said, we don't have masters of business degrees. We are creatives. We connect with the people, identify the situation and the challenge, and create a solution. We create clear and targeted messaging. We monitor and analyze all the social media accounts as well as the websites. We are local, so the budget for the campaign stays within the state of PA. A little bit different than the other people that will present. We are not a media company. We are a creative agency. So that's the difference. What it's like working with Kudu. We have a kickoff meeting where we establish milestones, timeline, creative and brand messaging. We send it to the OMACC for review, edits, and approval. Nothing sees the light until we gather feedback and have final approval. Final deliverables get approved, and then that's when it goes to the media companies for distribution for billboards, messaging, all that. So I'd like to take time to talk about the work we've already done within the opioid and fentanyl awareness realm. This is a campaign we created with Northampton County, and we called it Fake is Real Fentanyl Awareness. So I like to start with the numbers and the impact. So yes, we are a creative agency, but we do more than put lipstick on a pig, so to say. We make sure our designs reach the target audience and move the needle. So we have worked with Fake is Real Northampton County for 2 years now, and our efforts collaborating have brought Narcan trainings to communities, individuals. We had 286 individuals trained, not even halfway through the year. We've had over 1,000 Narcan kits distributed, which I passed around a sample. We got those into businesses, schools, and organizations around the county. We've attended more than 14 events, community outreach events. Agencies such as recovery centers and healthcare networks have received fake is real materials as well. We get all kinds of requests through the website for Narcan, Deterra, anything that can help the opioid crisis. And we also did a mass direct mail distribution of Deterra pouches to 50,000 homes within Northampton County. And if everybody used those pouches, that would eliminate over 6 million pills not reaching the street. 6 million, if they just got rid of it properly. So I'd like to talk about billboards. I think it's a good way to show messaging, because billboard, you're traveling at least 55 miles an hour down a highway and you have 2 seconds to get the message across. So here's some messaging we created. The Northampton County Executive, Lamont McClure, had clear direction about messaging. He wanted it to be very staunch, but he also wanted it to resonate with the community. So I don't know if you guys remember the 90s, drug ads where this is your brain on drugs and they'd crack the egg and fry the egg. Well, that was lost among a lot of younger demographics, and unfortunately, this is wiping out a lot of our youth of our community. So austere, right? Fake pills, you'll only be dead wrong once. So very strong messaging, but also not over the top ridiculous where they're gonna think, well, that doesn't apply to me, right? This is fentanyl in your MDMA, opioids, cocaine, molly, meth kills, right? So here we're trying to say it's in everything if you're buying it off the streets. And this is a fact. That's enough fentanyl to kill you. That's 2 milligrams, enough to fit on the tip of a pencil, which is an absolutely insane fact. And I think most people should know that because it doesn't take much. This stat has risen last year. So it used to be 4 out of 10 pills. This year, 2024, it rose to 7 out of 10 pills are laced with fentanyl. So that's a stat that I wouldn't want to gamble with. I don't know about you guys. And then also 54.4% of overdose happen within the home. So this is a stat that's really good to say, hey, people, keep Narcan everywhere. Keep it in your home, keep it in your car, keep it accessible. Never know when you'll need it. So that's messaging, clear, direct, to the point. We have facts, we have austere messaging, we have quick messaging. So additional information, I'm gonna go through this fast. We partnered with Lafayette and Lehigh University. If you know anything about those two colleges, they have a really heated football rivalry. So we created a video where they are partners, rivals on the field, but also partners in the fight against fentanyl. And that messaging went directly to college students and the younger demographic within our county, which our number was very high with those colleges and opioid overdoses. Here is an example of a rack card with some facts and quick information. I'm gonna go really fast. Poster we could hang in community buildings, create awareness, even bus stops as well, wherever the people intersect, newspapers. This is, we also did newsletters, email newsletters. Here we have the problem and the solution for social media, spreading messaging and awareness. The problem is 2 milligrams can kill you. The solution is anybody can save a life if you're prepared. Again, some stats, which I think are really important. These are national stats. It's also important for each county to have their own specific stats, right? Because then it resonates with the population. Here's a quick chart from Pennsylvania about the drug overdose deaths in Northampton County, 2020. That drop? Yeah, that wasn't Kudu Creative. That was the county combined with the LEDI program, if you're familiar with law enforcement initiative treatment, local recovery centers, everybody in the community swimming in the same direction to make that number drop. And along the way, because I said we've been doing this with them for the last 2 years, we constantly add new initiatives to the website. So there's the doTERRA pouch. They can order simply online. They can pick it up or contactless delivery, which makes it easy, more accessible. We have monthly newsletters. It gains 20 to 30 people a month, which we're constantly reaching new demographics, new people. We have downloadable resources for parents and educators and business owners. If you wanted to have like, a lunch and learn, those resources are available. For the younger demographic, we made an interactive quiz to test their knowledge. This actually went into the schools. We ran the test before the lesson start and then after the lesson started. And guess what? They got more questions right the second time. So they learned something. We also added a fentanyl memorial map to the website. This is from concept just to show that these overdoses, accidental overdoses, poisonings can happen to anybody, right? We got a 18-year-old right next to a 33-year-old, right next to a 45-year-old, right? This is in memory of the people that we lost, unfortunately, but it's also to illustrate it's not just for people who are addicted to drugs. It can happen to anybody. Again, like I said earlier, as a designer, I can make anything look good, but if it doesn't hold weight, it doesn't make sense. So here's some analysis.
I'll give you like 30 seconds to finish up. 'Cause your time's up.
All right. Community distribution, we did Narcan boxes throughout the community where people could just go grab stuff. Fight Fentanyl is Monroe County. We've been working with for just a year now. They have this year, I want to jump and scream about this. They've only had 14 overdose fatalities. That was 89 in 2020, so that's amazing. Again, more numbers. We did our website. You can see their branding is different. We still get the numbers, email, blog. We do video with Brian, so we got some local testimonials as well, which are highly impactful because they are the people of the community. It makes sense. Again, social media, fax, billboards. Oh, this is great. Lucia, she's 16. She unfortunately lost her father, but she's making it her mission to go through the community and spread the word that there's help if you need it. Again, here's marketing collateral, community outreach event, easy to walk past the sandwich boards, scan the QR code, take you right to the site, order Narcan. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate your consideration, and thank you, everybody.
Thank you. All right, next up we have Seven Mountains Media.
That's a hard act to follow, just going to say. So, no, thank you so much. Appreciate it. We're probably going to fly by through some of this because I saw how fast the time goes. So my name is Courtney Shegda. I'm Regional Director for Seven Mountains Media for the Wilkes-Barre Scranton market. We are a multi-channel marketing company. We do offer just about everything. So we can do video production, digital. The one thing we do not offer, which I love in the presentation, were billboards, but we do offer creative to do that, and I think that would be great to work hand in hand. So without further ado, if you don't know who Seven Mountains Media is, again, we're a multi-channel media firm. We own 187 radio stations. We are prominent in Pennsylvania, New York, Kentucky, and West Virginia. Let's see. There we go. All right, we'll skip through this first slide. It's basically just me telling you how great we are, but our strength and partnership and what we're known for. We've been in business for several years. Again, we're known mostly for our strength and partnership, but also our reporting. So every 30 days, we do Google Analytics to show that our campaigns are working. But let's be real, this isn't a media campaign that's cutthroat, where we're going to talk metrics and the best primetime television and Marketron and Nielsen ratings. This is a campaign that is for awareness and providing hope and help. And that's what Seven Mountains Media would like to do. Hope and Help in 2025 will look like, again, a multi-channel campaign, but starting with a website. So I wasn't sure if I wanted to talk about anything personal here because you're really not supposed to combine personal experience with professional. But again, media is cutthroat, so here we are. My father is a homeless veteran. He is currently homeless because of opioid addiction. He traveled his way back and forth from Texas over the past 7 years, and tomorrow I have a meeting at the VA to determine what we are going to do. I'm able to handle this because of Al-Anon, because I've educated myself, but I had resources and people in the county who were willing to educate me on where to go. So that's where it starts with a website. We really want to create a website that has a Calendly app, resources, that have AA meetings, Al-Anon meetings, networking, second chance jobs, just information for those who want to learn, but they don't want to be viewed as an addict. Our website process, we walk you through it. We want it to be hand in hand with other media vendors in the county. We want to work with the other media partners in this room because I know what they're all capable of. And I think if we all work together with this website, drawing people to the site and the resources, we can really provide some help. We're not going to get into pricing because you guys already saw that. All the vendors in here, don't look. Don't look. You didn't see anything. Okay. Now, as far as the videos, I'm not sure. There are 2 here and they're both 3 minutes. So for the sake of time, I believe most of the people on this council have seen the videos. If not, I can resubmit them, but they're a little over 2 minutes in time, so we're going to skip them, just showing our creative capabilities. Again, our video process, we're going to skip over that because I have a feeling I'm running out of time. Broadcast. So we have 187 radio stations, and several of them bleed into Luzerne County. And I'm sure you're probably thinking the bigger players would be a better option. But when it comes to budget and getting people who are traveling on 81 and 80, I will tell you Bigfoot Country and Pop are great stations, and they will help get the message out for branding. Because at the end of the day, this is awareness and branding. We're not looking to calculate an ROI at the end of this campaign. We're really hoping to help people and save lives. Just a little bit of our coverage map of our radio stations. I wanted to put that on there so you could see. A little side note, our stations are streaming, so all commercials, advertisements will be on iHeart, Spotify, all streaming platforms. We also recently launched Radio Nova. It is an app, nationwide app, where all of our station apps will be located. So again, all of these ads will also run on the streaming platforms. More of our coverage map. We're going to skip right through. Again, you didn't see any price. Okay, this is a sample schedule of just the consistency that we can do. We really want this to be a schedule that affects a lot of people in Luzerne County. So we want it to be a great schedule that runs, and we ask a minimum of 6 months. Now, if we see that this is really making a difference after 6 months, by all means, we'll continue and we'll discuss that after. Now, when we talk to multi-channel, this is where we get into digital, and I got to speed it up a bit. So, Seven Mountains Media, we're really, really known for our targeting. It's 2025. So if you were to call me tomorrow and say, hey, Courtney, we really, really want to target those who are affected and struggling with mental illness, opioid addiction in Luzerne County in these zip codes, give me 48 hours. And I'm going to provide that information for you and where we're going to serve these ads and help these people. OTT, I'm sure you've heard that. Over the top, it's just a fancy word for serving ads on air. So instead of your traditional broadcast, we would do it by zip code, we would do it by behavior, AI, anything to where we can target someone who is in need of seeing this message. Not just the addict, but someone like me. Online audio. So I talked about 187 radio stations. Well, if you told me you want this ad on other radio stations, not Seven Mountains Media's, sure. Let me know which ones. What we will do is we don't buy by station, we buy by behavior and zip code. So we would then coordinate a schedule across multiple platforms with a 15 or 30 second audio message played for Hope and Help of 2025. Mobile conquesting, fancy term, targeting everyone on their phones. everybody's on their phone. And I will tell you that my father, he's not watching television, he's not watching the news. He's right now in a hotel room on his phone, the phone that's paid for by the VA. So that's where he's going to want to see his ads. TikTok, guess what? It's still here. It wasn't banned. And right now it's performing at an incredible rate. The way that we can target opioid addicts of all ages, this is a younger demographic, again, can be targeted through Luzerne County by zip code. And I don't think it's going anywhere, guys. I don't. But we'll cross that bridge. So with this being said, this is a creative marketing and encompassing branding campaign where we would serve these ads for Hope and Health with a website over a 6-month period. Again, this is based off 6 months. This can continue for longer than 6 months based on how we're doing and how we're helping. This isn't something that we can track based on on-site visits. This isn't something that we're going to be able to calculate an ROI. This is something that it's going to require many moving parts. And that is the total wrap-up right there. So you can see exactly what we're asking, and everyone in here could see exactly what we're asking, and I thank you so much for your time.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right, next up we have WNEP. They're out in the rotunda? Okay, yeah, WNEP.
Good evening. My name is Ed Hart. I'm the Director of Sales at WNEP TV. I'm a lifelong Luzerne County resident, born here, raised our kids here, got married here, and I was talking to the sheriffs outside. It was pretty ironic because some of our wedding pictures from our wedding the day we got married were taken right here in the rotunda where we just came from, so brought back a lot of good memories. This campaign hits home for me. It's personal. As a person that lives here and is raised here, as I just said. More about that in a minute, but other people that I'm here with, and I'll introduce Jennifer Mikan. She is our local sales manager. Julie Eisenman, who is Pennsylvania born and raised, 27 years TV experience. And Fred Lettieri, who is your local contact and your point person at WNEP. For full disclosure, Jennifer has sold at Fox, and she's had leadership positions and sold at the CBS station in the marketplace. In the past, I've had leadership and sales positions in radio, leadership and sales positions at the Fox station in the marketplace, and I'm at WNEP almost 20 years. Opioid and drug campaigns are no stranger to us. We've been doing them since 2016 in the marketplace. So we know how to handle this. We've had a jump on this situation, and we've been doing it a while. Between Jennifer and Fred and myself, I can't believe I'm going to say this number, Jennifer. We have 76 years of experience in doing sales and marketing in Luzerne County and all of northeastern and central Pennsylvania. With that, we have the expertise. Besides the expertise, we have the viewers. Our campaign is heavily news-based because every single broadcast of Newswatch 16 is #1 with the viewers in Luzerne County. Okay, so that's by design. Okay, we have the largest website. We have a streaming app called WNEP Plus that is exploding, tens of millions of minutes every single month and growing. We have a cell phone app. Our cell phone app on the Apple application has 28,000 reviews. The next competitor has 2,300. The next competitor after that has 8 reviews. Okay, total complete market domination. However, we know that that does not mean a thing until we serve our communities. right? Proud to serve. It's who we are. It's what we do. It's how we lead every single newscast. No one cares how strong you are unless you serve your community. So what we're here to talk about tonight is some of the pillars and our overview of how we aim to serve the community and this opioid epidemic that we all face. And Jennifer will jump on the mic now and get a little bit into that.
Plan overview. Opioid addiction knows no boundaries, regardless of age, ethnicity, or upbringing. It's an epidemic that kills, and WNEP is dedicated to help shine a broader light on its dangers. We've developed a total TV multi-screen proposal to raise awareness of the 3 pillars outlined in Exhibit E. They're prevention, harm reduction, and treatment. Why WNEP? TV plus streaming county reach, strategic sponsorship concepts, transparent reporting, and optimization planning.
Sorry. Audiences are watching broadcasts and connected TV 5 hours and 11 minutes daily. TV is the strongest medium when compared to radio, print, and social networks. TV has the highest reach and is the most informative and persuasive medium. TV ads help motivate viewers to do further research online, and TV is the most effective for engaging and influencing consumers. A total TV strategy helps you with targeted reach and ensures you reach viewers no matter how they watch.
What we have here next is called a heat map. What the heat map does is it measures audiences and the strength of an audience, one versus another. The shading in red is areas where WNEP is more significantly viewed in the marketplace, and the areas in blue are where the competition would be more significantly viewed. As you can see, there's no blue on the maps. The station on the left is the NBC station in the marketplace. The station on the right is the CBS station in the marketplace. The station on the left on the next slide is the Fox station in the marketplace, and the station on the right is the CW in the marketplace.
We'd like to talk about the 3 pillars. The first one is prevention. With the goal of reaching as many homes as possible, we have developed a plan using our 2-minute local focus interview-style segments, airing Saturdays after our 7 to 8 a.m. morning news. We feel that prevention is about storytelling and highlighting the pains that come from opioid addiction. We will interview those that have made it to recovery or families that have lost loved ones to addiction, but with the idea to use these hard-to-watch testimonials to tell stories that can impact our audiences and keep them from looking away. We'll provide resource information with websites or hotline numbers to give viewers a clear next step if they need assistance. We'll also highlight different months throughout the year and strategically target these months with different options with news billboards and impressions on our streaming app. The total package includes 2-minute local focus interviews, streaming impressions on WNEP Plus targeted to Luzerne County viewers, homepage takeovers and pre-roll impressions on WNEP.com, and news billboards on WNEP TV.
We'll continue to use content and storytelling featuring real people sharing their experiences with harm reduction interventions. These personal stories help put a face on the issues that can be emotionally compelling to viewers. Community education programming will produce 30-second spots promoting a local community event like Narcan or the Terabag distribution or syringe disposal programs sponsored by Luzerne County. The programs are effective in showing how Narcan can reverse opioid overdoses and save lives, explaining what a Terabag is and how it can save lives by people disposing of unused medication through the CZ method. The package includes 30-second TV commercials on WNEP, streaming TV impressions targeted to people in Luzerne County, and pre-roll impressions on WNEP.com, also targeted to people in Luzerne County. Finally, what role do family members hold when it comes to saving a life of a loved one in a household fighting addiction? Narcan benefits are a big part of this. We'll produce a 2-minute local focus segment with an interview from a first responder explaining those benefits, or talking about the 211 helpline. Even better if we find a testimonial from someone whose life was saved by Narcan, given by a family member. We can help reduce the stigma around addiction by showing this is an intervention rather than a moral failing. The package includes local focused 2-minute segments, one per quarter, that runs on WNEP, plus streaming impressions on WNEP Plus, targeted to Luzerne County viewers.
Our third pillar is treatment to empower the provider. Having a strong provider network will ensure positive outcomes. Grants are available to assist providers in treating individuals with opioid addiction. This campaign will help promote the availability of the grants by delivering a message on how to access and apply for grants, with targeting to providers and treatment programs. This campaign includes commercials on WNEP, encouraging providers and treatment programs to solicit for funds based on ideas that will foster an end to the opioid epidemic. Streaming spots targeted to nonprofit organizations in Luzerne County. Local focus segment on how to apply for a grant, and a local focus segment with grantees that demonstrate the types of successful solicitations. Part 2 of our treatment pillar will help us shine a light on the community nonprofits available to those dealing with addiction. We'll produce 3 30-second vignettes of community nonprofits built to help those dealing with opioid addiction. And this campaign includes 30-second commercials on WNEP TV with streaming impressions on WNEP Plus, targeted to people in Luzerne County.
We'll also produce different PSA messages to target specific audience and work to reduce the stigma around addiction and treatment options. PSAs will include information on where to find treatment options in Luzerne County. On WNEP, annual campaign with streaming PSA messages in the morning news, daytime, evening, late news, and programming for maximum reach. Streaming will have WNEP Plus impressions, Premium OTT connected TV impressions regarding relevant audiences like frequent pharmacy customers, grandparents raising grandkids, and teachers and educators. We'll also have OTT retargeting display impressions.
So when we timed this out at the station, we came in between 9:40 and 10:20. So I don't know how we're doing on time, but that's what our practice rounds were. So I think we're doing okay. We're on the last slide.
You're good.
Good, thank you.
Good. I'll
So
give you like 30 seconds.
30 seconds, great. So based upon the information, the number one barometer of any successful marketing campaign is reach, okay? When you work with WNEP, you'll always be guaranteed the biggest reach and the largest audience with every screen we represent, whether it's streaming, broadcast, digital, website, mobile, okay? So we could probably do this whole campaign on our own, by ourselves, with exclusivity. But as we just heard Courtney say a little bit earlier, this epidemic is so large, we believe that the campaign should have multiple media partners. We all know each other. There's good friends of mine that work at BRE and YOU that I go to as I walked in the door that we care about. It's a small market. So we really think we need all hands on deck for this one, folks, and we need everybody in the same boat rowing the same direction for the folks and people that live in Luzerne County. So that's what our plan entails. Everybody working separately, but together for the folks in Luzerne County, with budget allocations based upon how strong, and we would hold ourselves just as accountable, budget allocations based upon what you bring to the table for the council and for the citizens of Luzerne County. And just in closing, just like to say, what we all can do as a group is much stronger than we can do individually. We are all in this together, and we'd love to help represent WNEP and the people in the county. And that's it. We appreciate the time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, finally we have WBRE.
All right, I'm going to start with a video. Nope, no audio. Every time we come. We're the problem child with the audio-visual problems, aren't we? There's nothing you can do? Okay, sorry about that. All
Okay.
right. So
we'll take it. We'll take the time to watch the video separately.
All right.
I'm sure it's probably an integral part of your
Yeah,
presentation.
it is.
but-
It introduces a lot of what we're talking about doing. But I guess I can start playing it and get going.
Okay.
The purpose of the video is to kind of set this thing up for you. It talks a little bit about the power of video. We believe in video for sure. We agree that that's a very, very powerful medium, and it influences people unlike anything else. We don't necessarily believe that television is the only answer here. Television should be, our proposal will be less than 50%, substantially less than 50% of it will be using the television stations advertising of commercials on TV. The majority of the video messages we will be recommending are going to be running on different streaming services and other outlets other than that, places where we can find the people where they are. So it's not really a matter of who's the most powerful dominant newscast among the 55-plus audience. It's much more important to be talking about how do we reach as many of these different unique groups as possible. So that's kind of what this was going to say. So, but what we're really here for tonight is talk about continuing a partnership. Tonight we'd like to deepen that partnership with Luzerne County. The partnering began 72 years ago. At the same partnership that took on mine disasters, floods, and pandemics. This time our partnership is focused on educating and informing children, parents, grandparents, employers, healthcare workers, first responders about their safety and pointing out what our county government can do and is doing to help solve these problems of this terrible crisis. In the year 2000, when OxyContin was first hit the market, we had practically 0 opioid deaths in Luzerne County. In 2023, the county reported 143 people died of opioid overdoses right here in Luzerne County. That's more than the Knox mine disaster and the Agnes flood combined. That's almost 3 lost lives per week. Already in 2025, 6 more of our neighbors have died right here in Luzerne County and from an opioid-related overdose. These aren't just junkies. These include regular law-abiding people, like a professional mother who was in a car accident and was prescribed opioids and started taking them, and weeks later found herself addicted, and her life shifted from being someone who's taking care of children and raising a family and following a career to someone who could only think about where am I going to get more of these drugs.
Mr. Griffith, your microphone is on.
Yeah, it's too late now. We'll be here all night.
Okay.
Thank you, though. I wanted to remind the people watching at home and everyone that Luzerne County was awarded more than $32 million in settlement funds so far from drug makers for their part in causing this epidemic. And these dollars are not paid for directly by taxpayers, but they're paid as damages by the drug companies to compensate the victim communities, of which ours is one. Our teams work closely with the opioid committee and the committee members, even prior to the actual formation, to develop our plan. We've carefully studied Exhibit E, which is expected to be used, and is considered in our plan. We have experience implementing and effectively executing these opioid campaigns with other counties in our area. We also have decades of experience working with government agencies across NEPA to deliver effective public educational campaigns for other purposes. We have experience working to combat the crisis ourselves, too, with producing specials, running news stories, and making social media and web posts, working to educate the public on our own. While we're proud of these efforts, it takes more to change behavior and educate 327,000 people who live in Luzerne County. Educational campaigns like we're proposing are proven to work. They've been used by governments for years. Through repetition and targeting, governments have helped lower drug and tobacco use, and these campaigns have been able to help educate the public before they are addicted rather than treating afterwards. I applaud what we're doing in the jails, and that's important, and what we're doing with treatment centers, but what we're hoping to do is try to reduce the number of people that get addicted in the first place. On the screen are results of studies about 3 different campaigns. The results are the same. Higher awareness of a campaign results in lower use of a substance. Now, before building our plan, we took into consideration the fact that WBR and WYOU do have a higher concentration of our audience in Luzerne County than any other county in our area, and a higher concentration than any other local television station on your dial that you can get. So we're very focused. Our audience is very focused here. It may not be the biggest, but it is heavily concentrated here. So the TV that we do will be reaching a higher concentration of people who are residents here. The other consideration was 11.3% of Luzerne County residents speak Spanish. We also took into account that younger viewers are more likely to spend time streaming or on smartphones than they are in front of a traditional television broadcast. With those thoughts in mind, we developed a strategy with 5 pillars. We presented it to the committee, and we've actually shown many of these elements to the council before, so I'm not going to go deep into detail on it. But with those thoughts in mind, we built it around video, because regardless of age, video is the most influential way to change behavior, to stop smoking or opioid abuse, or to pick a restaurant or a furniture store to shop at. We created relevant and compelling news segments to surround your message, and that content can be viewed on our TV station via cable, satellite, Hulu, YouTube TV, or through our website or our apps on social media. We included other means of distributing the messages, though, through social media, YouTube, and connected TVs and websites. We also included our advanced tactics to add these to electronic billboards and add messaging out to audio streaming that can be picked up on phones and in cars and through people's homes. We'll duplicate all of these messages in Spanish and target them to Spanish speakers only in Luzerne County. Although advanced targeting, we can do it through advanced targeting, we can do it efficiently and with little waste by targeting all digital messages only to people in Luzerne County. We developed our original version of our 5 pillars back in prior to our presentation to you all last June. We presented it to the council or to the committee, and so it is similar in many ways to what we showed before. All 5 of these pillars also included our specific, you'll see up here, specific points from the state's Exhibit E that each pillar addresses, along with the number of educational impressions they'll deliver and a cost per thousand to reach those individuals. In a year, we'll deliver 90 million educational impressions to the 327,000 Luzerne County residents. That's 1.7 million impressions per week, or about 4 per person each week to the people of Luzerne County. We understand the efficiency and transparency is important when being stewards of public funds. We're going to have regularly provide reporting and detailed analytics. The committee will be provided with that in real time on a dashboard, and they can provide authorized access to whoever they that they would like to authorize it to. We will be fully accountable to deliver what we say. Luzerne County is our home field. None of the companies being considered tonight is more invested in Luzerne County than WBRE and WYOU. Our companies paid property taxes and payroll taxes to Luzerne County since before most of us were born. We donate hundreds of thousands of dollars in free airtime to support local causes and charities right here in Luzerne County. We employ more than 100 employees who work about a block and a half from here, right? The vast majority of them live and raise their families in Luzerne County. They shop local businesses, eat the local pizza, worship their God here, and their kids attend local schools. Many of them, not only Tom Williams and Andy Mahalchek, were born and raised in Luzerne County. Many plan to be here for generations into the future. When I say the crisis is personal to my employees, it truly is. We're the right partner for Luzerne County. Our campaign is detailed, well thought out, and proven effective. This is a great investment for our county's future. Research proves that programs like this can save $10 in treatment costs for every $1 invested in messaging and prevention. The total investment for all 5 pillars, if you were to choose to go that direction, would be $985,000 to be drawn out of the $32 million in settlement funds. And while that sounds like a lot, there is a cost for doing nothing. I didn't live here in 1972, but I've seen the archival footage and it looks terrible. And I'm almost done.
Oh,
A friend of mine
Give me a
recently
couple
told me
more
a story. Recently told me a story of what it was like after that flood. He said that the community came together like never before. There was a determination. He said the people had an attitude of whatever it takes all around the valley. Well, it's harder to see the devastation of opioids like you could see the devastation of Agnes. There's a far greater loss of life going on right now. Like the flood, opioid hits everybody. It doesn't discriminate based on income, education, ethnicity, and religion. The good news is that unlike the flood, this is in our control to address this in advance before people become addicted. Communicate with parents, grandparents, young people, clergy, educators, and let them know the warning signs and dangers and what their community leaders are doing to address it. My team and I ask the council to vote in favor of our partnership when that time comes. And together, let's do whatever it takes.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
We appreciate all the speakers, all the presenters this evening. This isn't a decision that we're going to be making immediately. This has to, again, go through the Opioid Commission. They have certainly, many of them were watching tonight, so it's going to be a little bit before this comes back up on a council meeting agenda, if at all. Okay, next up we have budget reports for January. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Is there a reason the opioid committee meetings are not public?
So the opioid commission meetings, we do have a public one once every quarter, Manager Crocomo? Yes. Okay.
But why aren't they all public?
Because that was a decision of the commission, and we discussed it at previous meetings. They do not have to be public according to the trust.
The funds?
Well,
Okay.
especially,
That oversees the distribution of the monies.
Right.
right, and all the distribution of the money does come through council, so at the end of the day,
I
it's
understand
something that we
see it.
recommend. Yeah.
It's more for the public to be able to see what they're talking about. That's why I asked. Thank
Right,
you.
well, that's one of the reasons why we asked specifically for the media entities to come in here, because they're doing something a little bit different than just using the funds for treatment or, recovery or things like that.
Thank you.
Yes, and everything is on the webpage, the minutes from our meetings, and all these presentations also are gonna be there.
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Roselle?
Hi, good evening. In your packet, you have the budget reports for January, first month of the year, so there's not a whole lot to tell, but the first report is your revenue report. Revenue earned is at 3% of budget, or $5.5 million. We have no current year tax collections yet, but Elite Revenue did collect $2.2 million of prior year taxes in the month of January. Expenses are at $9.2 million, or 8% of budget. Next, you have the budget transfers report, which again, minimal at this point of the year, followed by your accounts payable detail report. And probably the most interesting one is the treasurer's report, showing a cash balance of $132,706,783 at the end of January. The cash balance at the end of December was $136,754,168. The interest that we've earned for the month of January is $376,156. Of that, ARPA accounts for $195,162. Our ARPA cash balance sits at $44,631,665. And our ARPA interest earned year to date is $195,162. In total, since inception, the ARPA interest that we've earned is $8.1 million. Most notably, our 2025 tax bills were issued on 2/19, and we've already started receiving some collections. So we made it with no tran. Thank you to everyone who worked with us to help make sure we maximized our cash flow during this period, which really made it possible to show the county, to save the county approximately $250,000 by not doing the tran. Does anyone have any questions?
Any questions for Ms. Roselle? All right, thank you very much. Next up, we have discussion regarding the resolution approving a lease with the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs for the placement of 911 radio equipment. Manager Croquemore, are you speaking on this or somebody else?
I will be speaking on it this evening.
Okay.
This, we're asking for authorization for a lease between the County of Luzerne and the Veterans Administrative Hospital for continued placement of a 911 radio equipment within the hospital property. And this location provides coverage for most of the Wyoming Valley. It's a long-standing relationship between Luzerne County, Department of Emergency Services 911, and the Veterans Administrative Hospital. We have the agreement attached as well.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, moving on to number 5, discussion regarding the ordinance amending the Luzerne County Subdivision and Land Development Ordinance to incorporate a revised fee schedule.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to try to keep this brief, but the land development, subdivision and land development fee schedule for municipalities that are not underneath the county's current saldo has not been updated since January 1st, 2013. And prior management within the department had put a stop to processing deeds that were recorded with the county that had a waiver to waive the subdivision and land development fee under, well, subdivision and land development requirements under the municipal planning code. So what we're providing is proposed, well, we have the existing subdivision and land development fee ordinance for the 48 municipalities that are under their own jurisdiction review, and then we have a proposed. So the biggest change in there is including a reverse subdivision fee, which was not included in the previous subdivision land development saldo, sorry. So the saldo fee schedule from 2013. And this goes to follow a 2008 ordinance that was made by the Planning Commission, well, the then Planning Director and the Planning Commission to further define what a subdivision is, and that underneath the county saldo is a reverse subdivision. So we're proposing just having an administrative review fee for the subdivision, a reverse subdivision within the county, and eliminating any technical review fee. So trying to streamline the process basically and have these recordings that have been done in the past few years processed.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Reese? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we're flying through. All right, our final agenda item is a discussion regarding the responsible contractor ordinance. Does anybody have any remarks? I know Ms. Stevenson sent over a updated copy of it with a that's on the side. It's an attachment. I believe I forwarded it to all of council. I have it. Oh, yeah. I believe I forwarded it to all of council yesterday evening. I don't know if that was enough time for everyone to take a look at it, see what the changes were. Most of them were just highlighted in yellow. Now, I know Controller Griffith mentioned, and Mr. Lescavage wanted to remove this from the agenda. If there's anything pertinent anybody would like to discuss on it, I have several things I'd like to talk about, but I think in the interest of time, maybe, all right. Ms. McDermott, go ahead.
Thank you. The one thing, and I had briefly talked to Brittany about it, just with the Class A apprenticeship program. So a lot of the different contractors that were objecting to this were mentioning about the Class A apprenticeship, that maybe they didn't have it. And I know you said the ABC does do apprenticeship as well. But in the section 3.3.11, it does say that the firm participates in Class A apprenticeship program or an equivalent training program for at least 3 of the past 5 years for each trade or classification in which it employs craft workers. And then it says that the employees are graduates of state-registered or federally registered apprenticeship program or equivalent training. So my question is, what does equivalent mean? That's, just, you want Class A, but then it says equivalent. So what constitutes equivalent training?
Okay, that's a question. Nope. Go ahead, Ms. Smith. Mr. Faust, I don't want to have any discussion from the public right now. If you want to come at public comment, that's fine. Yeah, I don't want to, because it's going to turn into it. Yeah.
So, from my discussions with labor and my own research, the reason that it has to be registered with a state or federal program, government, first of all, is what makes it Class A. And then the other qualities of a Class A program are high quality training, formal registration, a comprehensive curriculum, structured mentorship, and industry recognized credential. So I think, and maybe we can hear from someone eventually in the public, I think the best way to the best equivalency marker there would be if it was registered with a state or federal government, because all of the other things would naturally follow. If it wasn't registered, it could be a performative mentorship, for example. Everything else could be performative. I think the registration, or if it is a legitimate apprenticeship program with graduated apprentices, would make it an equivalent to Class A. That's what I've been finding, because I had the same question.
So then one letter that we did, or it was a letter that we received, was from American Asphalt, and they say that the employees are competent employees and they were certified in PennDOT programs. And I believe, it was said that they would be acceptable, but something like that, again, that seems to be a hang-up with most of the objections that we received. So how could we put, their minds to ease, as long as it says equivalent?
Well, if it's
should that be more specific though, or in the wording?
I understand what you're getting at, but I think, for example, if it's a PennDOT registered program, it's PennDOT's state program, it's registered with the state. Depending on what Councilwoman Stevenson would like to do with it, perhaps that language could be made more specific to, or equivalent, parentheses, that it is registered with a state or federal program. And if we wanted to expand it, that it has legitimate graduated apprentices, that it works with graduated apprentices. Does that make sense, why I think the PennDOT
Yeah.
would be equivalent to it?
Yes. I guess I'm just looking for something that would be more specific, because to me, equivalent just leaves it open almost to anything, which in that case, you know, if somebody has a training program, they could say, well, it's equivalent unless it's specified.
And I think that would.
Am I overthinking that, or?
I think we
No,
should have
I
a
don't
definition of
think you're
equivalent in the
overthinking it.
appendix, so that way it's clear and straightforward of what we're looking for.
That would be a perfect place to put it.
Go ahead, Mr. Wallach.
Also, it says that it would require 3 of the last 5 years. So if we have current contractors who don't have an apprenticeship program, they would have to wait at least 3 years in order to be able to reapply?
Who are currently working on projects right now?
Yes, or moving forward, like if they want to look for a new contract, would that make them disqualified? If they would need 3 years out of 5. If they don't have any, what would they do?
Do you want to speak, Brittany, or do you want?
I would assume they'd be disqualified if they didn't have any.
Right, but I don't think it would be retroactive, like if they're currently
No,
working
new
on.
contracts.
Yeah.
New contractors
Right, only
going
new
forward would
contracts.
need 3 of 5.
But I mean, if it's the same contractor we've used in the past, so we would no longer be able to use them, is what I'm trying to get to.
Correct.
Council members, I'm going to make a suggestion. I think that this legislation needs a little bit more work. It needs more definitions. And I think that the appropriate place may not necessarily just be a work session for council, considering that it's an ordinance. Maybe we can take this to a relevant committee and have it discussed there. And,
What would be the committee?
We can form ad hoc committees, yes.
well, I don't think that's necessary. I think that,
I do not believe forming
The
a committee.
legislative
Legislative
committee,
would be the
Greg.
proper one.
legislative committee,
Yeah.
essentially, or even
But John, as a
strategic
chair, I think
initiatives.
you can do that. You can refer work to a committee.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I would prefer to do, because I think there's a lot of discussion that still needs to be had here on this, particularly when it comes to definitions, when it comes to some of the other things related to the Class A apprenticeship. I think I have a lot of questions about the OSHA 10 requirements. I also mentioned some things in my comments 2 weeks ago about this protecting Luzerne County residents, protecting Luzerne County workers and companies. And I would like to see there to be language in here where essentially they would be the ones that would be benefiting from this. And if it came down to it where we had to pick between a Luzerne County company and a company that isn't from Luzerne County, that we'd prefer it regardless of whether they necessarily meet some of these standards, because ultimately that's what we're here to do is serve the citizens of Luzerne County and the workers. And I think I mentioned something about a percentage of the workforce having to be from Luzerne County as a stipulation in the contract. I don't know what the legality of that is, but I think it's something to explore. I know I mentioned it, like I said, 2 weeks ago. And one of the public comments that we had this evening was from Mr. Wilshire, I think, who said that, he and I guess some of his colleagues would be willing to sit down and actually have a discussion about this and have that back and forth. I think that it would be a good idea to have all parties involved in this so that we can come up with a piece of legislation that benefits the workers of the county, but at the same time doesn't really harm all the businesses in the county.
Can I ask you to be more specific in a question that you asked earlier? It sounded rhetorical, but I do think it's something that you would like to see. You said that it mentions that it benefits all people, workers, and companies.
Yeah.
And you said you'd like to see language on how they are benefited.
Right.
They
No.
being the people.
Not necessarily how they are benefited, not specifying how they are benefited, but ensuring that this language, that this ordinance will, it'll be a situation. So let's just say there's a situation where a company there's only 2 bids on a project.
And one's from
One of them's from Luzerne, one of them's from Lackawanna, or one of them's from Allentown, whatever. And the Allentown company will meet the criteria, but the Luzerne County company won't.
Mhm.
I think that maybe there should be some discretion there. But I don't know what the legality of that is. I think that's a conversation to explore.
There's also, I think, a major change in this that needs to be taken into account is the rising of is in 2.1. increasing of the performing work valued at over, it used to be 100,000, now it's 250,000. And many small business contractors that we heard from who might be excluded from being able to do work because of this would likely not be able, if they're that small, they would likely not be able to be doing a $250,000 project. So I think that's a significant change and should be ease a lot of significant concerns. Furthermore, I just wanted to mention, from what I found and from what I discussed, out of 496 registered construction apprentice programs in Pennsylvania, only 140 are union. 356 are non-union. So clearly, this is not just benefiting union contractors. There's plenty of non-union contractors who have such apprenticeship programs and are registered with the state. So with those numbers and that difference in numbers, the argument that this is discriminatory and naturally exclusive doesn't really hold water. I think those numbers are really important. But I don't think. They are really important to know out of the Pennsylvania companies how many non-union work contractors have these kind of apprentice programs. And it's much more than the union program.
Right, I thought that
programs.
this was not supposed to be about union versus non-union,
It's
number
not.
one.
It's
Number
not, but
two,
we've heard comments
my
about
only
it.
other concern is, again, like I want to fight for the workers of Luzerne County. I want to fight for the citizens and the companies in Luzerne County. That's my focus. That's all that I'd like to be considered, and I think that that's some conversation that needs to be had. And I also, in regards to the
I don't think that goal is out of sight for any of us, Chair.
right, I just want to make sure that I state that as that's my position on this. And also, as far as the changing of the threshold, I did ask the administration to provide us with some examples of contracts and how necessarily things like this would be affected. I think that you did send that, didn't you? Okay, all right. I was looking for a more complete list than what they sent out a couple weeks ago. So I think that, like I said, there's a lot of conversation I think that still needs to be had about this, especially regarding the data internally with our administration and exactly what projects will be affected, exactly who, how they will be affected by this. That's another concern of mine.
So are you assigning this to the legislative committee?
I would like a committee to review it. I would say legislative would probably be the best committee to do so.
Would you be willing to participate in that conversation?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would love to. And as a side note, sort of unrelated to this, there are several committees that have not met since this new council has been formed. I really think it's important that some of them start to meet because there's work that can be done in committee that doesn't need to be done in work session or in voting session. When we're presenting at the work session, they should essentially be complete to the extent that they can be outside of hearing input from maybe the public.
And just for procedure, the only people who can call those meetings are the chairs of those committees, correct?
I believe so, but I think as the chair, I can ask that a committee can meet.
Well,
So
certainly,
that's what
yes.
that's
But the
what
other
I'm
members
asking.
of the committee can't call the meeting. It has to be the chair or the chair of the council, correct?
I'm not 100% sure on that, but I would imagine just the chair, yes.
Thank you.
Oh, any other comments right now? All right. If there's nothing else, is there any public comment? Go ahead, Mr. Faust. Oh, do you have it? I'll look that up. Can't remember.
Good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Dear Luzerne County residency, I would love to see that. That might be better served under a project labor agreement, and I would applaud that. I will get you examples of that to all the county. PLA would be great to have back in Luzerne County, making sure we have residency, making sure we're taking care of our residents. Love that idea. But again, this is not about union or non-union. You have heard both the building trades and the ABC promote apprenticeship. This is about responsible contracting, and you should have very valid concerns over contractors that don't want to be responsible. One speaker indicated the RCO is a political stunt. As the president of Northeast PA Building Trades, I assure you, those I represent are Democrats, Republicans, Independents. And let me tell it to the 7 Republicans, you've heard from more Republicans tonight from the building trades than you did Democrats. So this isn't an R and a D. It is about responsible contracting and providing pathways for apprenticeship for our workers in Luzerne County. Please take me up on my offer to tour our apprenticeship facilities. The insulators, the sheet metal workers, the electricians, the pipe fitters, they are all within a few mile drive of the county. We would love to take you there. I look forward to council on more examples of how apprenticeships are a great investment in our county and our county workers, and more importantly, our residents. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Faust. Anybody else for public comment in the audience? Anybody on the Zoom? 1 second here. Anybody on the Zoom? Is there a motion to adjourn? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting's adjourned. Thank you very much. Thanks everybody for hanging out. Have a good night.